Okay, dirt simple, lightning fast tutorial on all that you need to know to paint an iRacing. So first you need to go to My Content, then Cars, and we're going to use the Lamborghini Huracan as an example. So click on that and click on Car Model. This is all you need to do. This generates the file location for the Huracan skin. So you need to go to Documents, iRacing, Paint, and you'll now have a folder called Lamborghini whatever. You might have a lot more from previous races. I recommend that you delete everything in here before you start, so that you only have the folder that you're working in. And this is where your skin files will go. To download the template, you go to Car Manager here on top, press the drop down, press Download Templates, and then you can pick the Lamborghini Huracan template here. You can also download any other car template, even ones that you don't own. So we're just going to open that up here in your downloads, and we're going to extract that to whichever working directory you have. Make sure to download a new template every time you start, because iRacing update them quite often, and recently they moved the number plates. Then we're going to make a folder for this project, and this one is just going to be tutorial. And we're just going to copy the template in there. Okay, open Huracan GT3 Evo model again here, and open the template in Photoshop. Okay, it should look something like this. I know the resolution is a bit funny, but ignore that. Turn on the wireframe layer for your own sake, and then delete the group called car patterns, because it's only going to be taking up space for you. The first thing we're going to do is set up the action group to save. So I have one saved, but I'm just going to delete mine so that you can see what we want to do. Okay, so in order to set up the action group, what we're first going to do is just turn on the spec map. You won't need to do anything with that yet. Action group, you make a new one by having the tab with the play. You press on the plus. You just write iRacing skin export or something like that, and you put that on one of the F keys. I use F2. You can record now. And now Photoshop will record what you're doing. So the record is on here. You press stop when you're done. We're going to hide custom spec map. We're going to hide this group of layers that you need to turn off before exporting CGA. Then we're going to save this as a target file, TGA, and we're going to save that in the location in Documents. And the file format name is car underscore and then your iRacing customer file number. Mine is 121614, but it will not work for you if you do this. So you need to write your own. And that should be 24 bits per pixel uncompressed. Hit OK. Now you've saved. Then you turn on the TGA set, not the spec map set, and you hit stop. This will let us export any change we make in a second instead of having to copy paste files. As you can see, the car has now turned blue, the same one as we had in the car before. All I'm going to do now is to show you that anything you paint, so let's make an example. We're just going to do a squiggle here, and I hit F2 on the keyboard. There, it's there immediately. This way you can work much faster, and that's all you need to know how to paint the car. You can figure out logos and shit on your own. Now for the spec map kind of the same, so we're just going to make a spec map export group. I already have one, but I'm just going to delete it and make a new one. I use F3 for it, and we're just going to call it iRacing spec. And we are going to record. And all you need to do there is turn on this, hit save as again. We need to go to the same location, still target format, but this one is called car underscore spec underscore customer file number. So for me that's 12, 16, 14. Doesn't really matter. You're just going to do the same but called whatever you need. Still 24 bits, still uncompressed. Now what I just exported is actually just what the car has, so that's not really going to change anything. And before we stop recording, we are not going to do anything this time because you'll only be using the spec map export when you're already in the spec map working, so you don't want to hide it after. Press up. So all it's going to do is, if I hit F2 now, it'll also hide the spec map, and you can see it still looks the same. But if I press F3 now, it'll resave the spec map but jump back into it, so if you need to change between what you're working with, you can also do this. Okay, so in order to make this very visible, I'm just going to make the entire car white first. Good. So first we're going to explain the red channel. In the red channel, we're just going to make a new layer, and I'm going to just make a stripe here. I don't know where that is, but it doesn't matter, and I'm going to hit F3 to export the spec map. Now you can see that this is changed in properties. Now the showroom shows it like shit, but this is turned into metal chrome because the red channel does metal. 100% is max, and you can change the value of this by just using the fill on the right and just changing the value for this. Now metallic just goes from 0 to 100, so that's easy enough. So we'll just delete that layer. For roughness, much the same. I'm just going to paint here. You'll notice that each of the channels filters one particular color out. So red channel only colors red when I paint with white. Same goes in the green, it only colors green when I paint with white. So you don't have to worry about it, just use white in this range. Never use any other color. Anyway, new layer for rough. So roughness is basically just making things less shiny. So now we still have the old one. I'll export. Now on this it's a little bit difficult to see maybe, so I'm just going to recolor the car to black. And if you look now, you'll see that the spec mapped area, which is, you know, around this right side window, has turned completely matte. So you can see the car shiny, but the area that we've chosen is not. It gets kind of like a glass blown plasticky texture. So that's what the roughness does. And once again, it's 0 to 100 scale. So if I go to maybe 30% for instance, it's just the same, but the effect is less drastic. So when I export it now, you can see it has this sort of satin look. This is kind of what you'd do if you wanted a matte black car in real life. And if I delete it, then once again we go back to just having a normal car. Now the clear code works a little bit different. So we're once again just going to paint white, but here when it's at 100%, it makes a clear coat that is a matte coat entirely. So you would think, okay, this is the same as the roughness, but no, it's not. This becomes a slightly different sort of effect. It's difficult to tell the difference when you just do something like the matte here, so that's up to you. But where this is different is that the max value is actually at around 8%. So if I put 8% and we're still in the same area here, this area will now have a clear coat effect and it'll be much more reflective in game. You can maybe see it up, especially around the mirror. And that's all you need to know about this. So basically just go from 8 to 100 on this with 8 the lowest being the most shiny. If you go below this value, you know, it's a zero, from 0 to 8, the effect is just off. So if I export now, the car just looks the same all around. There's no border between the two. And this is a strange choice by iRacing, but that's just how it works, so you just have to adhere to it. But that's it. That's all you need to know to export the files from this, and set up the action groups to make it super easy. Now when it comes to submitting this skin, we were actually exporting a spec map like a TGA file, but it's the MIP file that you need to submit, because this is just a file that tells the iRacing renderer how to make this file. And this file is only like 100 kilobytes, the other one is like 12 megabytes, so that you can see why it's advantageous to have that format. You can make whatever you want, but that is a basic tutorial of how all of the functions are for iRacing skin export, and I hope that's enough for you.